Hello everyone, greetings from PayTabs team and welcome to Managing Merchants Dashboard tutorial series. In this series, we are going to take you on a journey to learn and discover the power of our merchant dashboard. Throughout the series, we will walk you through each of the menus and options found on PayTabs merchant dashboard and how you can easily manage it. So, let's get started. In this video, we are going to learn more about the developers panel inside PayTabs Merchant Dashboard and how we are going to use it throughout our integration journey and the powerful and supported feature that can be enabled and configured through this panel. So, let's get started. The first thing you should know is that you can find the developers panel by logging into your merchant dashboard, then from the left menu navigate to the developers panel over here. Here we will find that the developers page contains multiple sections, and through this video we are going to walk you through each one of these sections and clarify all the details in it for you. But before we do that, we highly recommend you that we have a fully dedicated solution article with the name "What is the Developers Panel in my PayTabs Merchant Dashboard" inside PayTabs Support Portal. This solution article will give you a clear idea and will contain all the details related to the developer panel so you can have it as a reference and refer to it at any time to refresh yourself in any one of the section mentioned here. And now let's get through each one of these sections. Starting with the first section, which is the integration guides, and from its name, the integration guide is a guide that will walk you through the different integration types supported by PayTabs. You should know that PayTabs adopts or supports 4 types of integration types, and these 4 types of integration you can check inside our solution article the different integration types supported by PayTabs API, and also we have a fully dedicated video with the name different integration types supported by PayTabs API. This solution article will guide you through the differences between our integration types and how and when you are going to use each one of them, and from this solution article you can also navigate to the fully dedicated and the fully cleared manual for each one of the solution or each one of the integration type if you are looking to integrate through one of these integration type. So again, back to our menu over here, this section actually just contains a clarification of these integration type and how you can start your integration through each one of them. Here we will have the getting started to get a clear idea about how you can start, and now for each integration type we will have the own form page over here that contains the details of the own form, link to the own form and managed form, and all of these detailed. Now here we highly recommend you if you are going to actually integrate through one of these integration type, so what you should do actually is revert to our documentation to learn and find all the details related. Now, finally, over here, you will see the transaction API, which will be the API used for each one of our integration type. And here you can see that the transaction API contain an endpoint related to your region URL and then the /payment/request URL. This is just an API request, or this is just the endpoint that you are going to use throughout the integration. It will be also found inside the documentation for each one of the integration types. Now, if we get back over here, the final section or the final part of this section, which is the PCI DSS, and the PCI DSS level are level that's required for a merchant who will be managing the card details from their side by integrating through one of the 2 card management integration type, whether it's the own form or the managed form. And you can see here inside our solution article what is PCI DSS. Here you will learn all the details related to PCI, what is it, what are the levels, when you are going to use it, and how you can go use it. Now here, this is just an idea about the PCI DSS, and this whole section is a way of guiding you through how you can start the actual integration. Now, going through to the next section, which is the API keys, and the API keys from its name is the API keys or the keys that you are going to use while integrating. So whenever you are going to integrate through any of our integration method, you will need the API key to authenticate and authorize your account and your integration. Here is the place that you can find your API keys and the different ones of them and creating a new one if you want. The basic API keys that you will have inside your merchant dashboard are two API keys, the standard one and the SDK one. And of course, the standard one is the one you are going to use with your plugins, your APIs, and the SDK one is the one that you are going to use when you are integrating through SDK. Now, here in the section, there are some basic parts that you should know. The first one is the plus button over here. This is to create a new API key if you want to create a separate API key for certain reason. For example, here you will be able to create this API key simply by giving it a title. For example, here I'm going to say, let's say test 2. And here, once you give it a title, you are going to choose the standard or the SDK, whether you're going to use this API key through integrating with any integration method rather than the SDK, or if you want to use the SDK, I'm going to choose the standard API key. And here you'll be allowing the actions or the transactions or the option that will this API key able to do. So for example, here we allow auth, which is one of the transaction type, also the sale, which is one of the transaction type, and the same for all the rest of the caption. Verify, if you want to verify, we will learn about the verify in the second. The rest of the follow-up transaction, like the capture, the refund, the void, the query, you want to allow reports for this API key and invoices and payout. Here, while enabling and disabling this, whenever you are use this API key, will have the only enabled option over here. Once you click on add, you will be creating a new API key over here, and you can find the list of all your API keys inside this table. The title will be here, then you'll have the server key and the client key for each API key, and beside them over here you will find the available option for this API key, the ones that we have already enabled from the previous step. Another thing you are going to find over here, which is the default signature key. When you set anyone at the default signature key, this will let this key or will let PayTabs use this key to send you or to make you the signature that will allow you to verify any response coming from PayTabs. So there is a signature or there is a signature parameter that PayTabs send to you each response or in each request from PayTabs side to this side. This signature is a way of helping you to verify that the request is coming from our side and the request is related to you. This signature is normally hashed using your API key. So whenever you use one of these API key as a default one, this will be the one that you will use or that PayTabs will use to hash this signature. Now, if you want to learn what is this signature and how to verify it, we have a fully dedicated solution article with the name How to Verify the Response Received from PayTabs or Signature Verification. You can give it a look and learn how it works. Now let's get back to our API keys and see here that the standard one will have this mark beside it. And if we want to let any one of our API key, the standard or the default one, we simply navigate to the actions and we can see here this simple button which will allow you to set as a default signature key. Once you click it, this new API key will be moved to be the default API key. And of course, the other actions will be the delete over here or provoke a key to make this key not able to be used again. Once you provoke any key, it will not be available to be used. If you used it, you will find or you will face the authentication failed issue. And the other option will be the set IP limits. The set IP limits is a way of entering certain IPs that will use this API key. Meaning, if you try to integrate through any other IPs rather than the one specified here, this will not be accepted, and the one integrating through this IP will face authentication failed. The IP can simply set a list of it and be separated with commas. And once done, you will just click on update, and this API key will be available to be done only through this IPs. Now, this is just a simple idea about the API keys, how you can find them and how you can and find your way through their action, how you can add a through one or a new one. Now we can get back to our developer panel over here to walk and continue the other sections or the other available sections inside the panel. One of our most important sections inside the developers panel, which is the pre-built integration or the pre-built plugins. Here are the links or the way to integrate with our plugin for each of the supported plugin. You can see here a list of all the supported plugin. Of course, sometimes you may see a certain plugins exist in one instance or not. Here, simply, you are going to find all the plugins or all the pre-built integration supported in your region. And if you want to learn about how each one you are going to integrate with, all the details related, we actually have a fully dedicated solution article with the name which plugin has what feature. This plugin will guide you through all of our, or this solution article will guide you through all of our plugins, the differences between them, the different features between them, the difference between integrating each of them. Like here, we are going to walk you through each step of integrating from the integration manual, and in each step we are going to guide you through the differences between them. So this is just an article that will guide you through all of our plugins. You can check it if you are looking to integrate through one of our plugins. And of course, if you are looking to start integrating with a certain one, you can start the integration process by clicking on the plugin link over here or searching the plugin inside our support portal, and you will be guided through the ways or the steps you need. For example, here, if you are looking to integrate with a certain plugin and you'll need to be downloading it, so you will be guided inside our documentation to navigate to the developers panel and come to the pre-built integration and download the plugin from here. And here you'll find simple steps that will guide you. These steps are also mentioned inside our solution article. Now, after the pre-built integration plugin, we will have another section which is the PayPage configuration. The PayPage configuration section is actually a way of configuring the payment page, like the payment page theme, the look and UI of the payment page, the payment page language, and actually we will have a fully dedicated video for this section alone inside this solution or inside this tutorial. This video will be mentioned inside the description of this box. The same thing for the payment notification. We will have a fully detailed video related to it to be more clear and to have all the details related to each one of these sections. After this one of the payment notification and the PayPage configuration, we have another section which is the testing. Before we move to the testing, the payment notification is the way that PayTabs will notify you for each transaction. And again, as we said, we are going to provide you with a fully detailed video inside the tutorial, and it will be found in the description of this video. The next section will be the testing section. From its name, this is a way that will help you to test your payment. And to test your payment inside the test profile, we provide you with something called test cards. Test card, the card that will be supported to you to use inside your profile or your test profile. Here, these cards have different types and different CVV, for example. Some of them are 3D enrolled and some of them are not. So you can test the different behavior inside your payment page using this. So whenever you are using your test profile and you want to test any payment, just generate the payment page and come and use one of these test cards. Another thing that can be found inside the testing section, which is the API debug logs. The debug logs are the place will have all the errors or the mentioned errors that you faced lately. Simply, you can use this API debug log to troubleshoot your issues, find the found issue or find what you are doing wrong. This will help you through troubleshooting your issue and find a solution for it. And if you are looking or you are facing a certain issue that you have a solution, you can find the idea here or the error you are facing here, so that when you contact PayTabs customer care, you can mention to them that I'm facing certain issue by looking at the API debug logs. And if you want to learn more about the API debug logs, we actually have a fully dedicated solution article with the name What is the API debug logs? And you can see here that inside the debug logs, you will have all the details recited to it. Like, for example, over here, this is a sample API debug log where a merchant is trying, or a merchant has tried to pay or make a payment with a currency that is not supported inside his profile. So inside his debug log, he had this message that currency is not available, and this will have the message or the error name, and over here you will have the error date that this error happened on, and of course the IP source, and finally will be the actions. These actions will allow you to see the API request body that you used. This will actually guide you that, for example, over here we can see inside the currency, for example, that this customer is using this certain currency while this currency is not supported. Another thing is you can see here also the headers sent from the request. So simply you will find all the requests sent from your site to PayTabs, and you will find the title of the error that you faced inside the API debug logs. And again, this will help you to troubleshoot any issue that you face. Back to our developers menu over here, we can move from the testing to the next part, which is the certificate management. And the certificate management is a simple thing. For some of our payment methods or for some of our wallet, it will be requiring you to configure a certain certificate from the wallet provider and inside PayTabs profile over here. So simply you are going to navigate to the wallet certificate. Currently we have Apple Pay that needs to be configured a certificate, and Samsung Pay. If you want to learn and have the steps to configure the certificate, as it won't be done through PayTabs only, you will need to do it through, for example, your Apple Pay developer account, your Apple developer account, or your Samsung Pay developer account. So the full steps for these, or for the way to configure the wallet certificate, is actually found inside our solution article, developer panels dash certificate management. Here you will find the link to configure your Apple Pay certificate. The Apple Pay certificate solution article, for example, have all the details, all the steps you need to do, both inside PayTabs profile and inside your Apple developers account. The same thing will be for the Samsung Pay over here. If you want to learn more about it, you will find all the details, how to configure it, both through your PayTabs profile and through your Samsung developer account. Now we can get back over here to our developers panel to see the rest of the section. The final section will be the knowledge base. These are the links related to each one of these sections. These links will guide you through the integration, will guide you through each one of this section. For example, the transaction APIs over here, if you clicked on it, you will be redirected to the APIs option found, or the PT2 API endpoints, all the related things related to our APIs. For example, if you want to learn a certain plugin, you can click over here and you will find a list of all plugin. The same goes for all the features found inside here. This is a simple reference to our documentation, and each documentation for the section here, the API for the API section, the e-commerce plugin for the API or for the e-commerce plugin section, the API keys for the API keys section, payment-based configuration for the configuration section, payment notification for the notification section, certificate management over here, testing over here, and finally the mobile SDKs. So this is just a simple idea, or this is the details you want and you will find inside your developers panel. As mentioned before, we will have a fully dedicated solution or very dedicated video inside the series for the PayPage configuration and for the payment notification. So now we can move to the next video.